Hey guys, welcome to A2D, Agree to Disagree. Continuing on with our free agency and our free agency specials. We got somebody who has not been moved yet, has not been released, we haven't heard much news on him, and that's Jimmy Garoppolo. So we've gone over, the other quarterbacks that has had news drop on, but Jimmy's been kind of quiet, man. Somebody who thought we were going to make a big splash in free agency or in a trade market has not. We've been hearing Jimmy over a year is going to be moving off from San Francisco. And, Josh, you're a Niner fan and you know a little bit more about the situation than we do. I know a little bit about the shoulder. Maybe that's what's hindering him, but what's coming out of San Francisco? What's holding up that deal, man? Or is he coming back to San Francisco? What's going on down there?
Well, I just read a report that the Niners are prepared to actually hold on to Jimmy in hopes to trade him before training camp. And if that is true, I am sick to my stomach, right? I was prepared to come on here and feel the same way about Jimmy as my guy Michael feels about Kirk. And I was going to come on here and let Brian know about the winning percentage and the winning percentage on the road and the playoff record and all that. And I kind of hit a wall today with Jimmy. And I look around and I see all these spots slowly getting filled. And I can't help but think that, this shoulder's a problem. And it's either the shoulder's a problem or Jimmy's playing some game that we don't have time to speculate on. But that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is we're getting real close to that deadline to where we need to make a move on him so we can collect that. We don't have to spend that money, right? I believe if we cut him outright, we pay him $7.5 million of his 27 something, whatever it is. So we get roughly $20 million if we cut him. And to be honest with you, I have zero projections on where Jimmy will be traded. I do think he will be cut. And here's my ultimate thing when I think real hard about Jimmy, right? Jimmy's already made FU money, right? He's like Kirk Cousins. I mean, he's paid. I mean, he ain't quite as paid as Kirk, but same thing. Mediocre guy making a ton of money. And I think Jimmy will be out of the NFL in about 3 seasons, maybe 4 tops. Once it gets to that backup role, he's not going to be down. And I think we're ultimately looking at the probably one of the best all-time sports broadcasters of all time when it's all said and done.
Man, hey, I thought I was going to go at you, but I mean, that's not – I'm not going to be that harsh. Jesus, 3 – if he chooses –
I'm out.
That broadcaster money nowadays, though. So
hey, what's Aaron Andrews going to do if Jimmy Garoppolo's not a quarterback anymore?
Be Aaron Garoppolo?
Aaron Garoppolo. That has a good ring to it. Or would it be Jimmy Andrews?
Yeah, I mean, for me, though, the whole thing about Jimmy, you brought up the shoulder, like that's the issue. The issue is he ain't that good. And I don't think the shoulder is the reason why. The reason why the Niners haven't won is kind of because of Jimmy. Not to put it all on him. I know it's a team game and everything, but once you get to a certain point, some of these teams that are interested, the Steelers, did you want to lose draft capital and pay him twice as much as what you're going to pay Trubisky? So it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I knew the Steelers were going to go a free agent route. They're not the type to invest draft capital to acquire a guy like that. So that wasn't going to happen. And plus to pay him, I think his cap hit is $27 million. Trubisky's making half of that and the win percentage, whatever. This dude in the playoffs, Jimmy G, man, his playoff, he has 4 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions in 6 games with a 74 QBR. Like he just went 2 games this year. They won 2 games without him throwing a touchdown pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's not the reason. Like they obviously drafted and invested for a reason. All these signs are there. So why would another team want to take on that contract? So, I mean, you just hit it. I think he's going to end up ultimately being cut, released, or whatever it is. And then whatever the dead cap number is going to have to end up getting paid. But I just can't see another team taking that on. Like the Colts, they have a bunch of cap space. So they're the one team that you might look out for, and they're ready, and they actually fit him really well. They're the team that I kind of called out as soon as I saw Carson go to Washington. I kind of put the connection together there, and I assumed Jimmy G would be a good fit there, and they can afford it. They have the most cap space in the NFL, and they're kind of just sitting quiet right now for whatever reason. So potentially they still can do that. I think that's the one team that can happen. But even then, if you could wait and potentially get him for half the price, then just wait a little bit. And they could also, I heard the Mariota thing. So can you go that route? He's going to be half the price or whatever it is than Jimmy. So you want to go that route, and especially in the AFC, Jimmy's not going to beat any of these other elite AFC quarterbacks in the playoffs anyway. So why are you going to invest, lose draft capital, pay him all that money just to get mopped up in the playoffs eventually?
Yeah, I honestly think the only move for Jimmy, dude, is by the grace of God, Deshaun Watson doesn't go to New Orleans, and then New Orleans is going to send us
or
a
Carolina
for Jimmy.
Or
What
Carolina.
did I say?
As New Orleans or Carolina, because wherever Deshaun goes, there's going to be an opening. Yeah, there's going to be Baker. If Deshaun, we'll see. Either way, there's going to be an opening, and there might be a spot for Jimmy to go and get a starting job. But it's going to take a while. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
With Jimmy, he is kind of the new age Alex Smith, right? Like he's an okay quarterback, has a good win percentage, like kind of can manage the game when you have a good run game, have a good offensive line, can make
his
throws,
intangibles
can make throws at times.
Tough and mobile.
Can make throws at times, but he's not the guy that's going to lead you game in and game out. And that's what $27 million quarterbacks get you, is they can go and they can win you a game. They can put up, 40 touchdowns, and that's what $30 million quarterbacks do. Jimmy's not one of those guys. Jimmy is a 15 to 20, maybe, and I don't see him. So if San Francisco is to cut him, his best bet might be to take a year off, get that shoulder right, and then test free agency next year, or sign as a quarterback to somewhere, get the shoulder right, use him as an emergency, quarterback. So maybe sign with the Colts behind a guy like Mariota, or maybe he goes into training camp and he challenges somebody for that number one spot. But he's not a franchise, hey, we have to have this kind of guy. He's not that guy. So,
he can't save you a job though, because he can beat the teams you're supposed to beat, obviously. Yeah. And he can make the playoffs when he's healthy. The win percentage is undeniable. So if you're one of these guys trying to keep your job, you just brought the Colts. That I keep going back to them. They're the one team that makes the most sense to me.
But he didn't win that game against Dallas. I mean, he played okay, but he didn't win that game. It's actually Dallas lost that game. He didn't go and win that game against Green Bay. It wasn't like it was him winning those games. So I don't want to hear about his playoff record, because he's not going out and winning these games. Yeah, his winning record is, he has a good win-loss record, sure. But when he came over from the Patriots, man, like he was supposed to be like the next Tom Brady and like this huge thing. He never lived up to that. And he that was unfair to him. And he has the best run offense behind him in the NFL. So that's a big reason why they're winning games. So I don't want to hear about how he's, his win-loss record and all that shit. But if he goes to a team like the Colts, like, yeah, he's going to win more games, because again, he has a running back behind him. He has some weapons. It's going to be basically San Francisco in a white uniform. So that would make sense. I do think Marcus Mariota goes to the Colts, and maybe they bring him in as a challenger. But he's not a guy who's going to lead any team ever to a Super Bowl. If he goes to a Super Bowl and wins one, it's because of the pieces around him. It's not because of him.
Well, that's the only reason why I say the Saints. I'm holding firm on them, only because I think they're desperate to stay relevant, and they would make a move on Jimmy to do that. And Jimmy does keep you relevant, bro. He will win you games. That's not the toughest division he's in. And
I hope you're right. And he's kind of like Drew Brees was in his last couple of years. Drew Brees couldn't throw deep anymore because he had his own shoulder issues, right? And Jimmy's not a long ball guy, but they don't need that. They got a good defense, a good running game. Jimmy, I hope you're right, man. And Jimmy and Deshaun, go to Carolina or go to Cleveland.
At this point, when I heard about the shoulder, San Francisco probably will cut him. I did think he was going to go to Pittsburgh, because I heard a lot of speculation that he Pittsburgh was into him. But then I heard the shoulder, and with that shoulder, he is definitely not worth $27 million. No one's going to trade for him. So cutting him and signing him as a free agent for a $10 million 1 year, $10 million to see where that shoulder is at. But he's not a franchise guy, man, and he's not. He's going to get Teddy Bridgewater money.
And that's the part where I disagree a little bit. Is just imagine the shoulder's completely healthy. I don't think it changes anything.
Yeah, but if
that's not accurate. That wouldn't be accurate. If he was completely healthy right now, he would have been traded already.
See, that's where we disagree, because I think the cap number and all the other reasons I already mentioned is the real reason he hasn't been moved. It's not the shoulder.
Yeah,
shoulder's going to be okay.
Yeah,
he's not that good. He's not a guy that's worth investing draft capital or that much money. Period. No shoulder at all mentioned.
27.5 is too rich. Period.
Like I said, boys, we might just be looking at the next great broadcaster. That's my ultimate take on Jimmy.
Hey, he's been on GQ a couple of times, so maybe he just becomes a model.
GQ, baby.
He not to make this sound too weird. He is probably the best looking quarterback in football, so he's got that going for him at least. Erin Andrews loves that guy, man. I'm telling you, she's soaking wet every time she has an interview with Jimmy. So who knows? I think he takes a year off, man. I think he takes a year off. He's definitely not going to be. With the spots that are left, I don't think he's starting quarterback this year.
At worst, he'll be a QB2, and he's a smart dude. So he'll be a QB2. Go to New England, man. What if Mac Jones gets hurt?
What if anybody gets hurt?
Then Jimmy can get hurt immediately after.
He'd be a very serviceable number. It's a very serviceable number 2 quarterback.
The Saints one is good though. If the Saints don't get Deshaun, then look out for that one.
And boys, that's ultimately what I'm saying. Jimmy has FU money. So once it comes to the point that you guys are projecting, which you're both right, he's going to say FU, and he's going to go take that $100 million that they just be handing out at the networks nowadays.
Yeah. The next man, Troy.
Jimmy ain't no backup. He's going to retire with the numbers.
Let's team him up with Tony Romo, because we got to get, or Jim Nantz. We got to break up those two. Those guys drive me nuts. But yeah, hey, let's see where Jimmy lands. If he lands on the wire, man, maybe no one picks him up. He gets cut. We'll see what happens. But as of right now, he's still a Niner, and we're getting kind of deep into this. So see where we go.